Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Simply Colorful FiberCast. My name is Lynn Marquidant. Today's date is June 14th. It's Flag Day, and I welcome you. Grab your project and let's see what we can accomplish together in the next 60 minutes. Today, we're going to be working on clue number 7 of our mystery quilt. We're calling it Freedom. We started again 7 weeks ago. We're in week 7. We have 2 more weeks after this week to go. And I know for those of you who are working on it, I bet you thought, oh no, not more snowballs. I promise you it'll be worth it. So this week is another sort of plugging along and working on our snowball blocks. Next week is going to be fun. So keep on plugging. And I love seeing everyone's progress. I'm so impressed. Let's get right to what the block is for the clue, and then we can talk about what's happening in history today and what happened in past history. We can talk about what you did last week. As always, send me your pictures and your comments to lynn@simplycolorful.com. And if you haven't, please subscribe to our channel. That way you'll get alerted when we go live with FiberCast. Okay, so clue number 7. And again, if you need to find the clues, you can find them in several different places. Here's what we need to make. This ends up being a 3.5 inch by 3.5 inch unit. And it starts out with a 3.5 inch by 3.5 inch neutral square or scrappy square. And then like this. And I'll show you how we're going to make it. And we're going to talk a little bit about different neutrals. So you may recall, when I've made some here that we can talk about. Several weeks ago, if you'll recall, we made a lot of these in red. Remember that? And we made them using patchwork. So Allie down under, she has used in her reds even, she's using scraps of reds to make her red 3.5 inch squares, which looked beautiful. And this is, again, you can do that on any of these. So on your neutrals, if you don't have, you can do it any of a number of ways. You can start with a whole square, like this was a whole one square with the music motif, and I just snowballed it with the blue. Or like this one, you can piece together a lot of neutrals and then cut it out into your square and then put your blue. So we're going to do a few of both. I have many that have already been made. We have to make 168 of them. Let me triple check that number. Again, for clues, go to simplycolorful.com or go to the Facebook page, the Simply Colorful Mystery Quilt Along group. Okay, so clue 7, yes, 168 of these babies this week. Last week we had it easy with the 4 patches, which again, I love to see everyone's progress. Okay, so I've made several, and I'm going to put those in a pile. And then, oh, I like that one. Look at that one, how many different neutrals that has. I like that a lot. Okay. I hope everyone out there's had a good week. For those of you who teach, oh, that's a red one. How'd that sneak in? I'm thinking of you, my cousin and my niece and many of my cousins actually. Hopefully you're out of school or you're getting close to being out of school. Ooh, these need a good press. That is not 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches. So I'm going to show you what we're going to do. See how both of these measure? That one's just over 3, as is that one. Here's what I can do in that case is what I might do. Check out this scrap. I love this one. I found this one up in the attic last week or the week before. Let's see how to do this. It's hot. I heated it up. we go. So now what I'm going to do is I have these two squares. This is such a random clue this week, so have fun with it. Just go free. In fact, speaking of last days of school, I want to wish Deb a wonderful last day of school. Congratulations on all you've accomplished. I hope that you are doing whatever you want to do tonight, whether it's in your pajamas, sewing, or it's going out to eat with Kevin and your family, whatever you feel like. I hope you're doing it. Swimming in your beautiful pool. So what I'm going to do here is just randomly sew some neutrals together to show you what I do with this. And I know I'm all over the board here. I'll go back. It's a very simple clue. Okay, so there's that. I think I might find another piece here. See, this could read like white, but because it's the light blue that we already used, I used it in the centers of these squares right there. So I don't want to call that a neutral in this particular quilt. In another quilt, you might decide that's a neutral. It just, or reads as white. It's completely how you define your rules, you know? Okay, put that back. So all I'm going to do is take this random scrappiness, right? And I'll give it one more press. And then I suppose if I'm doing it a little bit right, and put it here on my Martelli roundabout. I love this cutting board. I like it more and more. Okay. Because I can do this sitting down. So there's that all cut off. And now I will actually sew it right onto that. I'll make a nice big piece of neutrals. See, I'm going to do that. I think what I'll do is, for simplicity, there's that away. Just bring this over to my machine. Well, we've had quite a busy week around here because we've had a couple of end of season potluck dinners and meals and finished up a couple of projects. And today, if Sue is out there, hi Sue. We had a great day today here in the Simply Colorful studio. We were working on a t-shirt quilt. And I'm pleasantly surprised at how it came out, Sue. It was 15 t-shirts that Sue had already stabilized with the interfacing and cut into 14 by 14 inch squares. And we put sashings and a couple of side panels, and we put it on fleece, and it really came out well. I'm not going to show it to you because she's giving it as a gift, she and her friends, but it was a good day. Okay, so here, now, remember this piece wasn't big enough, nor was this piece, but now we're in a situation where I can cut a couple of 3.5 inch neutral squares. Put my glasses on. And you know, if I was smart, what I would do is I'm going to trim this up, and it doesn't have to be parallel with the other side at all. It could be slanty. Now what I'm going to do is just find another piece here. Another piece of neutral. Hello, neutrals. Where are you? Here we go. Oh, I like this one. Isn't that fun? Put that here. So you're basically making fabric out of your scraps, and then you're going to cut it up into blocks. So again, send your pictures and your, oh, I don't want to iron on that. Let me know what you're working on, and I will check that very quickly. Okay. Hope you can see this. I think you can. Okay, there we go. Now we have a good piece of fabric. And now I'm going to cut out some 3.5-inch squares. Do you see why I did this? So that I can cut these 3 squares sort of in the middle and use them in two sets of squares. Then what I want to do, 3.5. I want to start over here. So I've kind of counted that this is 7 inches. That'll get me 2 sets of 3.5-inch. I want to do that so that I can use my ruler on top of the fabric and keep it down so it's a good true 3.5-inch strip. And then similarly, I'll do it again on this one. There we go. Now we have 2 sets of strips. Now we just turn them the other way. And are we going to get, no, we're only going to get 2 squares out of this. So I'm going to make sure that I line it up here in the center, that I cut it in the center. There, and I'll move those 2 away. Let's see if we can do 2 here. See how I've got that down, 3.5-inch on both of them? Okay, those I can reuse in another square. There's one. There's one. And now I'll turn this around. Actually, they're both there. And there we go. 2 more. So that's part 1 of the clue. Make 168 of these. Don't feel as though you have to make them all scrappy. Please don't. But it is cool if you do, but you don't have to. I made several of both. Then what you do, I'm just going to put this all down here. Put those aside, and then what you want to do is cut 2-inch by 2-inch blues. And these are the dark blues, as dark as you can get them. And then take your sandpaper and your pencil. We've seen this before. We've done this before. I know. Bear with me. It's going to be worth it. You did the red ones. Now do the blue ones. And next week, it will come together. So draw a line on the back of them. That will be your sewing line. That one already had a line. And really, this is something you can do in front of the TV. Cut your squares and then just plop in front of the TV. I have been, speaking of plopping in front of the TV, I'm not ready to admit defeat. I've been trying still to make beaded rope. Okay, that one's already drawn on. And I think my problem was, this is where I'm taking 6 little seed beads and I'm crocheting them together in a circle, and then I'm crocheting around with a bead, and it creates a spiral and then a very pliable, supple rope. In theory, I have not been able to get the thread to work, but I found a third kind of thread. I was showing Sue today. It's called jeans stitch thread. So Sarah, thank you for the tip. I now have jean stitch thread. Who knew there was such a thing? It's top stitch thread. And I think it's got the right twist and the right heft and weight. I think I'm going to be able to do my beaded rope. What am I using a beaded rope for? I have no idea. It's just something to do when I plop myself in front of the TV. Okay, so you get the idea here. You draw on 168 of your 2 by 2 inch squares. Draw a line. And then take your square that you made, your neutral 3.5 inch, and put your 2 inch dark blue square on the corner. And then sew on the line, or just to the right of it, a thread to the right. So there that is. And then I'm going to cut it at 1/4 inch. There's that. And Allie and others have been saving these and sewing them. So they have lots of, those must end up being less than 1 inch when they're together. Half square triangles, crack me up. I want to see what you do with those. After your cruise, of course. I'm very jealous. I've never been on a cruise. May just have to figure one of those out. Cut that. And there we go. That is all you have to do this week, 168 times. So who's out there? Again, send your emails to Lynn at simplycolorful.com. Let's see what is going on. Hey, KB. Hi, KB. Happy to say I'm caught up with the mystery and ready to start clue 7. Yay, KB. And she says, let's hear it for the weekend. Yay. Congratulations on your clues. I know that this, you probably thought you didn't want to do any more snowballs, but it's going to be worth it. Happy Friday and happy Flag Day. Do you believe it? What else happened on this day, June 14th? That was quite the celebration of D-Day last week. Okay, so June 14th. Oh. So, during the American Revolution, Congress adopted the stars and stripes of our flag. Let me read a little bit, and this comes directly from history.com. It says, during the American Revolution, the Continental Congress adopts a resolution stating that, quote, the flag of the United States be 13 alternate stripes, red and white, and that the Union be 13 stars, white in a blue field, representing a new constellation. That national flag, which became known as the Stars and Stripes, was based on the Grand Union flag, a banner carried by the Continental Army in 1776 that also consisted of 13 red and white stripes. According to legend, Philadelphia seamstress Betsy Ross designed the new canton for the Stars and Stripes, which consisted of a circle of 13 stars in a blue background, at the request of General George Washington. Historians have been unable to conclusively prove or disprove this legend. Well, let's stick with it. Yay for Betsy Ross. With the entrance, it goes on, and again, this is United States history right now. with the entrance of the new states into the United States after independence, new stripes and stars were added to represent new additions to the Union. In 1818, however, Congress enacted a law stipulating that the 13 original stripes be restored and that only stars be added to represent new states. Oh, that's cool. So they were adding more stripes and more stars, but then they decided, nope, in 1818, let's keep the red and white. And I believe the red and white is for the blood and bandages of war, right? The color of, I think, although they left that out of this. On June 14th, 1877, so this is a full 100 years later, the first Flag Day observance was held on the 100th anniversary of the adoption of the Stars and Stripes. And as instructed by Congress, the U.S. flag was flown from all public buildings across the country. In the years after the first Flag Day, several states continued to observe the anniversary. And in 1949, Congress officially designated June 14th as Flag Day, a national day of observance. Okay, what else happened on this day? In 2017, in London, the Grenfell Tower kills 72. Wow. It says shortly before 1 a.m. on June 14th, 2017, a fire tore through the West London's 24-story Grenfell Tower. 72 people died, scores were injured, and hundreds were left homeless in Britain's deadliest fire in more than a century. Wow. Also in 2017, filed under crime, 5 people were shot, including a Republican congressman at a charity baseball game. Oh, remember this? So 2 years ago on this day, a gunman walked onto the baseball field at Eugene Simpson Park in Alexandria, Virginia, opening fire on politicians and wounding House GOP whip Stephen Scalise of Louisiana and 4 others. Wow. In 1982 on this day, the Falkland War ends. So in 1951, a company called Univac was the first commercially produced digital computer, and it was dedicated. Univac stood for Universal Automatic Computer, and it was developed by J. Presper Eckert and John Mauchly, makers of ENIAC, the first general purpose computer. Let's see. In World War II on this day, in 1940, so 5 years before the end of the war, right? I think. On this day in 1940, Parisians awoke to the sound of a German accented voice announcing via loudspeakers that a curfew was being imposed for 8 p.m. that evening as German troops enter and occupy Paris. British Prime Minister Winston Churchill had tried for days to convince the French government to hang on, not to sue for peace, that America would enter the war and come to its aid. French Premier Paul Reynaud telegrammed President Franklin Roosevelt asking for just such aid, a declaration of war, and if not that, any and all help possible. Roosevelt replied that the United States was prepared to send material aid and was willing to have that promise published. But Secretary of State Cordell Hull opposed such a publication, knowing that Hitler, as well as the Allies, would take such a public declaration of help as but a prelude to a formal declaration of war. So while the material aid would be forthcoming, no such commitment would be made formal and public. By the time German tanks rolled into Paris, 2 million Parisians had already fled, with good reason, because in short order, the German Gestapo went to work. Arrests, interrogations, and spying were the order of the day as the gigantic swastika flew beneath the Arc de Triomphe. Wow. While Parisians who remained trapped in their capital despaired, French men and women in the West cheered as Canadian troops rolled through their region, offering hope for a free France yet. The United States did not remain completely idle, though. On this day, President Roosevelt froze the American assets of the Axis powers, Italy and Germany. All right, well, so a lot happened on this day. I'm also wondering, Did I see there are birthdays on this day? Oh, in 1968, around the Vietnam War, Dr. Spock was convicted for aiding draft dodgers. I just hit something else. In 1922, Warren G. Harding becomes the first president to be heard on the radio. That must have been amazing. On this day in 1922, so almost 100 years ago. What, 97 years ago? Addressed a crowd at the dedication of a memorial site for the composer of the Star-Spangled Banner, Francis Scott Key, and he became the first president to have his voice transmitted by radio. The broadcast heralded a revolutionary shift in how presidents addressed the American public. It was not until 3 years later, however, that a president would deliver a radio-specific address. That honor went to President Calvin Coolidge. Wow. Okay, let's get back to sewing. Very interesting. History.com. Oh, and Sue says she's home safe with very little traffic. That's great. Great to hear. Okay. And let's see who's out there in the email. And then I'll get back to making my 167. Carol, if you're out there. Oh, Cherish. Hi. Oh, this is so cool. Cherish says today is also the Army's birthday. 244th Army birthday today. Go Army, Cherish. Go Army. Thank you for sending that. That's awesome. Hey, Becca. Hi, Becca. Becca says, hi, Lynn. This uses a charm pack and 5-inch by 10-inch rectangles from my stash. It will be a charity quilt. Oh, very nice. Look at that. I love it. I love it. How are you, Becca? I keep wondering if you're at another retreat. And we keep talking about possibly getting ready to schedule another trip to Missouri. I know it's only been a few months, so it is a little early. But thanks for sharing that, Becca. I'm glad you're out there. I was thinking of you today. Cherish. She also says, this is my new project for my mom's ENT doctor. Oh, let's look at this. I'm downloading it. Oh, how cool. Look at that. Very nice. Thank you for sending that. I love anything with those subtle colors and grays. Oh, excellent. And Carol Bell over the pond, she says, hi, Lynn and Fibercasters. I hope you've all had a good week. She says, I've started on this week's clue. I finished a couple of blocks and have about 20 of the starter neutral blocks done. May take me most of the week to finish. Yours, Carol, in Yorkshire, England. Oh, they look great. Check that out. You are well on your way. I promise it'll be worth it. I love that. Oh, and look at that. You've got on one of these that looks like hooves of a horse maybe. And a ball, the dress of a ball gown. Who knows? Who knows? I'm so glad you're out there. Oh, I think that I've caught everyone. And hi to Carol and Jean and Kelsey and Lima. What else do we have going on? Oh, I purchased fabric for our Marathon Quilt Guild's raffle quilt. So stay tuned for more on that. I don't have it close to me. It's Tula Pink with white Kona and Minky on the back. And it's going to be luscious. Can't wait to do that. We're going to make it as a guild this summer. So we have a few get-togethers planned. And then we're going to raffle it off. And with the proceeds going to a scholarship for a maker, a budding maker, if you will. meaning, and we're still defining this, so it's not set in stone, but we want to encourage or help those people, those kids graduating from high school who are going on to study some form of art. We're going to offer it to technical school graduates. So it doesn't have to be a traditional four-year college, but it's anyone who is a sewist or a maker or fiber artist who has a desire to continue their education and needs a little financial help. So that's what we are raffling the quilt off for. At least some of the proceeds will go to that. So that's kind of fun. And stay tuned. We've got a half square triangle design picked. Came from, I'm pretty sure it's one of the Color Wheel Quilts card deck quilts. For anyone who has this B570, I'm curious if you have the issue I'm having here. Is it seems when I first start, so you can see maybe you can see those too. When I first start, my seam gets a little curved. It's like it wobbles. Maybe I just have to tighten my presser foot, huh? Third time should be a charm. It still wobbled a little. Anywho. So hopefully, I should count how many I have here. I certainly don't want to do any extra. 1, 2. These are good little press. Highly recommend starch for anyone who is not a starch convert yet. And I know I'm late to the party. And then I get off my starch kick, but I'm back on it now. Even though I'm not using it right now, I'll use it on the next phase. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. So what else can I tell you as an update? I have more eBay auctions. I went to try and copy the link from eBay into Facebook, but it didn't work. Excuse me. So I'll try again. Oh my goodness. Now I've lost count. Let's just stack these and then we'll count them. See, a lot of these I didn't piece. And that's going to be okay. This one I'm using the back of. I don't know if you can tell the difference. Look at all these. I can hear the band down there. Okay. Okay, so there's a pretty good pile so far. Let me do this one a good. Nope, that one's too small. Okay, let me do this one and then I will count them. And then I think I'll check and see who else is out there. I really tonight just wanted to let you know what the clue was. I don't think I'm going to go for the whole hour. And I'm so proud of everyone who's kept up. I know this is a big quilt. And I hope you'll be as excited as I am when you get the top together. It's a good one. Okay, so how many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to put them in piles of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, hello to my mother if she's out there. She's probably busy doing her volunteering or all the things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 28. So I only have 140 more to do. Let me know if you have any questions or post them on the Simply Colorful Mystery Quilt Along. Let me check one more time and make sure I've caught everyone. It's so nice to know when Norma's out there and Marquet, and again, Allie and Wendy. And oh, I wanted to go, and Cherish, go Army. I wanted to go look. Gloria has posted a picture of everything she has done on the Simply Colorful Mystery Quilt Along. Isn't that cool? So she's done all of her compass blocks. She's done all of her 4 patches. She's done all of her white with red snowballs. And now she'll do her white with blue snowballs. That's great. Thank you for posting that. And then, of course, we have Allie, who's finished her clue, and she has, see her reds? Those are specially pieced. Becca, are you getting excited to possibly do this one? I'm just kidding. We need to go back to Missouri and do a mystery quilt. Oh, and KB, look at KB working on these. I love it. Oh, and Anne is working on the ABC quilt. That was just a patron only quilt. So if anyone wants access to that, and that has these 4 flowers are in each of the corners, and then it's A through Z. It's a fun quilt. Go to patreon.com/simplycolorful. Oh, Carol has sent in her pile. But of course, we know she's all done. And you saw those are Allie's. So great job, everyone. I think that's about all I have today. Summer's coming. You can feel it in the air. It's getting a little more humid and hot, but also delightfully sunny. And the flowers are just popping and bursting. Sue, if you're out there, hi. And I'll be sewing away. I hope you will be too. 168 of these. Next week is going to be a fun clue. So have a great week. Have a great weekend. Do what you love to do. And I'll see you next Friday night right here on FiberCast. Bye, everyone. Thanks for letting me go a little early. Bye.